Off the Cuff is supported by Patreon. Subscribe today and get exclusive member content, in-episode credit, and fun off-the-cuff merchandise. Hi everybody, and welcome to Off the Cuff. Happy New Year, even if you're watching this episode in July. Yep, it's my last show of 2022, and all I can think about is all the snacks and goodies that my parents used to treat me to when I was a kid on New Year. Most of my memories are from the late 60s, early 70s. My older brother and sister were pretty much out of the house, and my parents made New Year's Eve a lot of fun for me. We used to sit down and we'd have a picnic in front of the TV. Later on, we'd watch Guy Lombardo or even Dick Clark's Rockin' New Year's Eve, and we'd have snacks. And that's what this show is all about. Sure, they put out potato chips and popcorn and pretzels, you know, the standard fare, but I used to wait for about 9 or 10 o'clock at night. That's when my mom brought out the big guns. And by big guns, I mean pigs in a blanket. Oh my gosh. Call it what you want. Finger food, hors d'oeuvres, snacks. These are my absolute favorite. I mean, who doesn't love pigs in a blanket? Also, I'm going to show you a recent favorite. I didn't have guacamole or avocado till I moved to California in 2001. So today, I'm going to show you how to make a low-carb version of guacamole with homemade low-carb tortilla chips, and it's so much easier than you think. I love chips. I'm a chipaholic. It's one of the reasons why I'm still this size. But I'm going to show you how to make tortilla chips that are low-carb and guilt-free. Okay? But before we go, since this is the last show of 2022, well, I have a hidden talent. I have a certain gift of precognition. I can actually look into the future. So before we proceed, before we get to cooking, join me at the Off the Cuff news desk for a look at 2023. Hi, I'm Craig Mitchell, and this will be the news for 2023. Dateline, Washington, January 14th, 2023. During a 90-minute press conference, President Biden, our first octogenarian president, answered questions about inflation. When pressed on that, President Biden said, well, depends on what happens with the interest rates in the third quarter. The follow-up question asked, how could he stand here at 80 years old for 90 minutes and be so confident? He said, depends. Dateline, February 9th, 2023. The world's smallest Powerball jackpot ever of $692 were won by brothers Rufus and Chester Dimples of Mena, Arizona. Yes, undaunted by the small amount, the brothers invested the entire amount and now own Twitter outright. Speaking of Twitter, Elon Musk, in an effort to make back some of the capital he lost on the platform, will take SpaceX and turn it into SpaceX. Yes. With the new SpaceX, for $500,000, you can launch your spouse into orbit, and for $8 more, you'll get a blue check mark to verify they're not coming back. Dateline, March 21st, 2023. Well, sad to say, medical experts say that COVID is still lingering, yes. They hope it's going to mutate down so it's just a minor annoyance. You know, like that party guest who's the last one to leave, and he's there with his finger scooping out the bean dip going, hey, how about we go to breakfast at Denny's? Dateline, April 22nd, 2023. Now that cryptocurrency is struggling, Wall Street announced that September 17th will be officially Crypto Day. Now, that's not to be confused with Lex Luthor's upcoming Crypto Night. Don't worry, I can hear the groans from here. Dateline, May 9th, 2023. In an impromptu news conference at Mar-a-Lago, former President Donald Trump was asked why he's never owned a dog. He answered right away saying, what, are you kidding? It took me 6 years to get Eric to go on the paper. Oh, by the way, that paper is now declassified. And now for a quick look at the weather, here's Joey Gaynor.
It's great.
Thanks, Joey. In international news, King Charles of England has revealed he's been very hesitant to wear the crown. But he found out if he puts Vaseline on his ears, it slips right on. In entertainment news, with the resounding success of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, an 81-year-old Harrison Ford has said he's been convinced to return to the franchise. Another movie is coming, and here are some of the possible titles: Indiana Jones and the Early Bird Special, Indiana Jones and Get Off My Lawn, and finally, Indiana Jones, Where the F*** Are My Keys? And now a look to the world of sports. It's October, and the New York Mets are at the World Series.
Yay!
That's right. Yep. Yeah, they'll be in Section 5, rows 17 through 27. In a related story, when the New York Jets won their second Super Bowl championship since 1969, there was only a very small parade held. We found out why. Everybody else was watching that big snowball fight in hell. After being banned from baseball for over 30 years, Pete Rose, shown here throwing a hard 8, has been reinstated to Major League Baseball. Yep, he's now the official odds maker of the MLB. And finally, here's Joey Gaynor with a look at traffic.
Too much cursing.
Thanks, Joey. That's the top stories of 2023. I'm Craig Mitchell. Now here are the ingredients. Also in the news, as I said, the ingredients. First up, the pigs in a blanket. First, you'll need 12 cocktail wieners, or as many as you plan on making. Now for the coating, 1 cup Carb Quick or Carbolose, 1 ounce butter, cold or room temperature, 1/4 cup shredded cheddar cheese, 1/2 teaspoon salt, 1/4 cup each of heavy cream and cold water. Now for the guacamole, 2 large avocados, 3 teaspoons of lime juice, 1 teaspoon of salt or to taste, 1 teaspoon pepper or to taste, 1/2 teaspoon cumin, 1 teaspoon or more to taste of minced garlic, 1/4 teaspoon each of paprika and chili powder, 1 tablespoon of cilantro, 2 tablespoons chopped scallions, and 2 tablespoons of sour cream. And finally, for the tortilla chips, you need 3 low-carb tortillas, 2 to 3 cups of avocado oil for deep frying, or you can air fry them in your air fryer. Alrighty then, we're going to start with the guacamole and chips because we're going to leave the pigs in the blanket for the grand finale. So here are the 2 avocados you need. I'll show you how to de-pit them and scoop out the flesh. It's super easy. It's really easy, as I said. You take your knife and you do it. You start here, and you're going to just turn the avocado around the knife till you make a perfect circle, which I believe I did. Then you twist. Oh, there you go. And then you take the knife and twist again. And there you have your pit. It's now a de-pitted avocado. And repeat for the other one. Let's cut into this. Twist again. We're gonna twist again. Boom. It is now de-pitted. So you just take a spoon underneath the skin and flesh and plop that in there. So all the avocado is in the food processor. Now you don't have to use a food processor. You can actually use a bowl and mash it by hand. I just like to do this because it's easier, and I'm a creature of comfort, I guess. Now we add our lime juice. And what I like to do is pulse it a few times. See how it's doing? You can take your spoon and you can manipulate it in here to get it down towards the blades. In go the chopped scallions. This is cilantro, and I do believe that's cumin. I do believe. That's in. The garlic, pop it on in there. This is paprika and chili powder. Salt and pepper, there you go. That's in. Pulse this up. Now in goes the 2 tablespoons of the sour cream. I always wondered about sour cream. What happens when sour cream goes bad? Does it turn sweet? I have no idea. All right, so this has been a perfect combination of using the food processor and your spoon. And now, that's all your guac really needs. This really couldn't be easier. Just lay out your tortillas on top of each other on a cutting board. Take out your handy dandy pizza cutter, that's what it is, and you're gonna just cut it up like this. There's one. That was easy. That's in half. Now let's do it into quarters. All right. Okay, here are your chips. Okay, so what we're going to do now is shallow fry these chips. And as you can see, the size differential here with the chips is a little off. That should be no problem, and I'll explain in a second. Okay, this is a first for me to fry these chips. I'm not using an air fryer or even a stove. I'm using this induction stovetop. I just started using this. I love it. And it's a lot faster. It's more precise. It's great for frying. Now inside this pan, I have avocado oil. And this is actually the healthiest oil to shallow fry or even deep fry something, and it's just very expensive. The advantages to this is the oil is loaded with monosaturated fats that don't break down and have a higher smoke point. Therefore, the oil stays stable, it's less dangerous, and more healthy for you. I mean, avocado oil is great for you, so it's actually perfect for this. So we're going to heat this up to about 350 degrees. Then we're going to put in our chips, and then num time. Okay, we're up to temperature. It's 350 degrees. Here are the chips. Now what I've gone and did is I arranged them by size, because I want to put them in all the same size so they cook at the same rate, because I'm schmut. So let's put it in. You don't want to overcrowd. The temperature will come down in the oil as you put everything in. That's okay. I put it up just a little bit higher to compensate for that. Now these cook fast because they're thin. So what you want to do is make sure you flip them. They don't submerge, so I do flip them. Let them go for about another minute, and believe it or not, that's going to be all they need. Well, and I almost knocked it over, which would have been a total disaster. There we go. Oh, also, you want to salt as it's drying. So I might have been a little late for these. So these will be low salt. Okay, now our last batch goes in. I've already done the first batch of the small ones. One other thing about avocado oil that I forgot to mention is that even in this state, as you're using it for shallow frying, it's really excellent for your good cholesterol. It helps to raise your good cholesterol. It also helps to lower your bad cholesterol. That's cool. This is going to be done real fast. There's only 5 chips in here. The chips are ready. Now we're going to make the pigs in the blanket. But first, it's time for food facts. If you research it, pigs in a blanket actually have been around since the 1600s. Yeah, in England, field laborers pretty much had the same pigs in a blanket that we have today. Bite-sized meat that was put in dough and baked. It was quick and easy nutrition. Meanwhile, other accounts from England have pigs in a blanket coming to Britain through the Silk Road from China. The only difference was they basically used fish. But once they got to England, quickly, it was meat and sausage that they used instead. Moving to America in the 1800s, let's talk about galoshes. No. Not galoshes. Galoshes. There they are. Yeah, they came to Texas via Czech immigrants in the 1800s. Now, as you can see, these were sweet pastries, but when the immigrants saw how much pork was being consumed, they quickly took savory meat, put it on savory dough, and you had pigs in a blanket. Are you getting it yet? Yeah, I don't think there's one single origin to pigs in a blanket. Now, in the United States, The first written recipe for pigs in a blanket came in 1957 in the Betty Crocker cookbook, Cooking for Kids. I mean, come on. What kid doesn't love pigs in a blanket? When I was a kid, I loved pigs in a blanket. Actually, I still do. Well, then there's the trucker legend from the 1960s that states that pigs in a blanket were actually invented in a diner on classic old Route 66 driving through Oklahoma. Yeah, as a matter of fact, if you look online, you can find a recipe on how to make pigs in a blanket on the engine of your truck as you're driving. And you know what? I did this once when I went to a Met game at Shea Stadium. We put hot dogs there, and it worked. Truckers and pigs in a blanket. You know, I always see truckers having these enormous appetites. I mean, would they be really satisfied with a small pig in a blanket? Huh. I wonder how that went. Breaker for that Okie Diner up here on Route 66.
Go ahead, sugar.
Yeah, I'm coming your way, and I got a hankering for some hot dogs. But you know what? I don't want those big, normal-sized hot dogs. No, ma'am. What I want is mini, teeny-weeny, little hot dogs, really small, wrapped up in their own dough. You think you can do that for me?
You got it, honey bun.
Okay, I'll be there in about 5 minutes or so. I'll take 390 of them, okay, to go. 10-4, good buddy. Hey, I'm driving a Tesla. Now, hot dogs are very popular in Chinese, Korean, and Japanese cuisine. Now, the New York City Chinatown bakery, the Golden Steamer, actually offers cocktail franks inside bao. In essence, a Far East version of a pig in a blanket. Oh, look at that. That looks yummy. Also in Japan, their Pizza Huts offer a pizza with a crust made entirely out of pigs in a blanket. Oh, look at that. You got pizza, pigs in a blanket, all in one place. Yeah, you know what this means. I'm moving to Japan. As you travel throughout the world, you're going to see different variations of pigs in a blanket. In Argentina, it's a sausage with ketchup, and it's rolled in an empanada. In Israel, they call it Moses in a blanket. It's a kosher sausage wrapped in puff pastry. In New Zealand, it's a sausage on a piece of bread with onion sauce, and it's really popular at fundraisers. And finally, in England and Ireland, it's a cocktail frank rolled in bacon. Oh. And now it's time for Pigs in a Blanket trivia. April 24th is National Pigs in a Blanket Day. 2 days after my birthday, because somehow they knew we were a perfect match. There are several alternative names to pigs in a blanket. There's devils on horseback. There's kilted sausages and wiener winks. In England, there's pigs in skins, and there's franks in blanks. If you have any of these medical conditions, please consult your physician. In the United States, most pigs in a blanket are cocktail franks or Vienna sausages. And while you can enjoy pigs in a blanket anytime, traditionally they are served at parties or on holidays, like Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. And now it's time for some guacamole trivia. National Guacamole Day is actually September 16th, which also happens to be the Mexican Independence Day. Well, that makes sense. That's where it comes from. Avocados were first cultivated over 10,000 years ago. Yeah, which means they're just slightly older than some of my sweat socks. In the 1900s, avocados were known as alligator pears. Yeah, I can see why. Guacamole was invented by the Aztecs in the 1500s. By the way, guacamole translates to avocado sauce. Avocados are a superfood. It's true. When you're eating guacamole, you're getting vitamin B, E, K, potassium, tons of healthy fats, also beta-sitosterol, which is great for prostate health. Guacamole is so popular that it actually went into space on the Apollo 11 moon landing mission. But they didn't get to eat it because Buzz Aldrin ate all the crackers before they even left the ground. Oh boy, Houston, we have a problem. And that's Food Facts. It's time for the pigs in a blanket. Yep, here are the pigs. Now let's make that blanket. Here are our pigs ready to go. The instructions for the dough is actually quite easy. That's 1 cup of Carb Quick. That's the brand name. It's Carbolose and some other ingredients. You can also get Carbolose and use that instead. That's the generic. So 1 cup of that. 1 cup of, 1/4 cup of shredded cheddar. So it's kind of, I can guess it's going to be a little bit of a fathead recipe. 2 ounces of butter. I'm sorry, 1 ounce of butter, which is actually 2 tablespoons, and it says cold, so I haven't let it melt. All right. 1/4 teaspoon of salt. My measurements are all over today. And here is 1/4 cup and 1/2 cup of heavy cream and cold water mixed together. All right, I'm gonna use my old wooden spoon to mash this up and make it into a dough. Most of this, the energy you have in here is gonna be squishing that butter a little bit. This is my progress so far, as you can see. Yeah, it's not tuna fish, trust me. You saw the ingredients go in, you know what it is. I've preheated the oven to 350 degrees, and I'm just spraying my cookie sheet with non-stick spray. Okay, so this dough is really too sticky to work with, so I'm going to try to add about another 1/4 cup of Carb Quick to this and see if that helps it become more workable. Because it was so gooey, it was almost impossible to work with here. This seems to be working much better. Now that seems like a dough. See? Look at that. That looks like a dough. It didn't before, I gotta tell you. So let's take a pig and put it in the blanket now. Oh yeah, it works a lot better now. There's one little piggy. Yeah, it's really important to knead this dough. I wish it was neater, but nothing I bake is ever neat. Nothing. As a baker, I am just a total mess. But I try, and that's the thing, I try. If you feel it sticking, what I'm doing is I'm putting my hands in Carb Quick, just a little bit. You can also use regular flour too if you want. But there we go. Okay, that's 12. No, that's 11. This will be 12. Okay, I'm going to separate them a little bit more. Okay, it's a total mess, and I eliminated the sticking problems. But now we're going to put this into the oven, 350 degrees for 8 to 12 minutes, and I'm going to check on them. Let's see how we go. All right, into the preheated oven. 8 to 12 minutes. And I will be checking on it. And how can you tell Craig's been baking? Every single time. Happy New Year, everybody. Man, that worked out better than I expected. Here's the guacamole and chips. Here's the piggies in a blanket. I gotta tell you, man, so much fun. Came out great. I gotta tell you, at one point when making the pigs in the blanket, I was having trouble with that dough. But when you do it, remember, keep some flour or Carb Quick around to put in your fingers. That way it won't stick and you're able to wrap it more. I ended up putting too much around the pigs because they all disappeared. It's kind of like, it's not pigs in a blanket. It's like pigs in a comforter. Anyway, but still, I'm really excited about this. It's a treat that I've always liked, and I'm going to really enjoy trying it for the first time. As you can tell from the video, it's the first time that I ever made it. Okay, but first, because I said I like to leave the best for last, although, I mean only because the pigs in the blanket are my favorite. I'm going to try the guacamole and the chips, which came out fantastic. Look at that chip, look. Beautiful. So let's try it. Man, that is loaded with flavor. It's low carb. The chip is a little bit salty. It's crunchy. The guacamole is beautiful. It tastes so good. Each one of those tortillas has 5 net carbs. So you can eat this whole bowl and it's just 15 net carbs. That's pretty good. Now it's time for the piggy in the blanket. Like I said, they look like piggy puffs, but no matter. I can't wait to try it. It's firm, it's golden brown. Here comes my, and I'm not going to use mustard or anything right now. This is just going to be the pig in a blanket. So, here we go. They really knew. They really knew what they were doing. It crunches, it's soft. Look at that. It's flaky. My only complaint is I use sharp cheddar. I would use mild cheddar next time, but still, it is cheesy, so if you like cheese, that's great. But wow, what great texture. Complements the cocktail frank beautifully. Oh! It is going to be a happy new year. This is spectacular. Oh my. Absolutely delicious. Well, that's it for this time around, and that's it for 2022. Until next year, remember, be well, eat good, and happy and healthy. On the next episode of Off the Cuff, it's snack time. Today, I'm making homemade low-carb pretzel rods and cheese bit crackers. Meanwhile, I have to learn how to multitask. I'm filming, and there's a guy here.
We're doing tours now.
Kitchen tours? What's a pretzel without salt? If you have a pretzel with no salt, that's called a baldy. Oh, come on. Be nice. It's time to munch out. These are great. Join me for Off the Cuff Healthy Cooking with Craig Mitchell. Alternate Sundays at 7:30 p.m. right here on Strong